Nigeria is in a state of flux, you may say, because politically so many things are happening. There's so much movement, there have been so much movement, some things that have never happened before are happening in this season. Namely, for instance, the wholesale decamping or defection of PDP structures from the PDP to either the APC or the ADC, the newly formed coalition that entered into the political party called African Democratic Congress. And now we've had a new development of the remnants of people in PDP saying that they want to reorganize PDP and ensure that PDP is viable and contest for the next general election, for the presidential election. And strangely, at the last National Executive Committee or meeting of the PDP, you had people who had declared support for the presidential ambition of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, sitting with people who said they will not leave PDP and would not support President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and also people who had declared support or attending meetings of the African Democratic Congress, sitting together saying that they want to make PDP to remain a politically vibrant and viable political party. Now, is this a kind of deceit or some kind of a new thing that is happening in Nigeria? With me to discuss these strange things today is none other person than the political scientist who also runs a political blog all the way from Portugal. I'm referring to Dr. Joel Ikeme. Dr. Joel, you are welcome.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for having me. So good.
You are a political scientist. What do you make of these strange things? People who said they don't want PDP to present a presidential candidate, those who have already declared their support for the presidential ambition of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, those who have declared their support for the African Democratic Congress, sitting together with people who said they will neither support the APC or the ADC, but will stand alone to build their party. I'm sure people are deceiving themselves. Do you think that is the correct understanding?
Absolutely, absolutely. You have just nailed it. Because I've said it times without number, that what we have in Nigeria is just contextual democracy, because democracy in principle is not there. So if you do a comparative analysis of what you have in Nigeria and in other parts of the world, you just find out that democracy we have in Nigeria is just having political parties, having periodic elections, and then just have dramatis personae, that is all. But the real principles of democracy, principles that guide party men, principles that guide members of political parties, is absolutely zero. It's absolutely zero. It's not there. And so this confusion that's been created over the years between the PDP, APC, and now the African Democratic Congress, the ADC, is all geared towards one thing: promoting the ambitions of the political elite. Now, if I want to take our minds back to the people who are now in the APC, who, formed the APC in 2014, and then they decided to use that platform to contest for election just to remove Jonathan. And then they came with the mantra of change. We thought that all of these was just to give a good sense of belongings to the masses, to change the political landscape, improve the economic security, fight corruption and all of that. But we've seen over the years that all of this decamping that you are seeing, all of these agitations within the political party, is just to satisfy the political ego of members of these political parties. Now, on the aspect of mass decamping, it simply shows that what drives the political style of Nigerian democracy as far as political parties are concerned is just personal aggrandizement. Because if it's about the people, I don't think they have any say in all of these things. And then there's something that has been on my mind. Recently, the minister of the FCT, former governor of Rivers State, said that openly that he was going to support Tinubu in 2027 because he believes power should move to the south. Yet this is a man who is still a member of the People's Democratic Party. And then I asked the question, he's insisting that power moves to the south. So if the PDP now brings out somebody from the south, will he jettison his support for Tinubu? Because now that we have a southern candidate,
Yeah,
with the
but,
PDP.
but
Because you see, it's very, very funny how these things happen. So that's why when I say that these people who are agitating for power move to the south, power move to the north, it's not because they really want, this power. It's just to satisfy their selfish political interests. That's all.
Yeah, but that is all politics is about. In Nigeria, we have what people say politics, all politics is local. And when you go to local, it's about self. People are projecting themselves to become political office holders. So do you blame them if the whole essence of politics, in this case, is for you to be in political office? What is wrong in you are going to work in such a way that you can eliminate current opposition, look forward to the future opposition and eliminate them so that you can be in office? I'm saying this in the context of the opposition, for instance, that Peter Obi has in the southeast. The people who oppose Peter Obi in the southeast mainly are people who also have presidential ambition, like the governor of Anambra State, who says that it is not time for the southeast to look for the presidential ticket. The Minister of Works has also had presidential ambition. He bought forms to contest for the presidential ticket in 2023. And now, for them in the southeast, it is that you remove present and future opposition so that the course will be clear for you to win. Move further south, for instance, for the people from the south, many of them, for instance, today, including certain office holders today, will not be happy if President Goodluck Jonathan comes back to office, because it is in their interest to make sure that President Jonathan does not contest. It may be in their interest to ensure that they keep power for now in the southwest. It should go to the south, but it should be in the southwest, so that their home area, southeast and south-south, are preserved for them in the next 12 years when they think that power will be coming back to the south. So it's all about self. Like when Buhari or when Atiku, take the case of Vice President Atiku Abubakar, when in 2011, for him, it was the turn of the South to become president. So he fought against President Goodluck Jonathan. And when it became obvious that President Goodluck Jonathan had intention to contest the 2015 election, he led the group that left the PDP to go and join the form what you call the new PDP. He joined the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's ACN and President Muhammadu Buhari's CPC to form what you call APC. He got the ticket in the PDP and contested against President Muhammadu Buhari in the general election and lost. In 2023, he came out again and wanted to contest. And then at that time, he did not talk about the political positions being the turn of the South. Not again. He now contested, even though a northerner had been in power for 8 years. So the point I'm making is that if you check all these calculations about South or North, you remove them of all the niceties and what they use to deceive people. It's all about myself, projection for me to be in power.
Yes, you see, one of the reasons why I say, yes, I quite agree that it's about self. But these people only have one vote. They only have one vote because at the end of the day, democracy is about the people. The most powerful element in every democratic setting is the people, because they are the ones who will vote. They are the ones who will decide. So even if Tinubu decides that I want, of course, in an ideal democracy, even if Tinubu decides I want Mr. A to be governor, if the people do not want him to be governor, they are the ones to do the final decision. But of course, in Nigeria, we don't see that happening. Now, let me take up this issue about the Southeast that you talk about. You see, for me, personally, I think Soludo's coming hard on Peter Obi and the PDP right now is simply because he understands the fact that the federal might, Tinubu or the federal government are the ones who control INEC. And if he doesn't appear to be supporting Tinubu publicly, the elections in November in Anambra State might not go his way, even if he wants to win, because the state does not control the INEC. And we've seen over time how results have been written. Edo State is a case in point. Kogi State is a case in point. Even in Imo State, it's a case in point during the runoff elections, how INEC or the preferred candidates of the government in center won the elections. Amidst the hue and cries about elections rigging, which was even very, very obvious. We saw those things on social media and the rest of them. So for me, I think Soludo's approach or coming hard on Peter Obi, saying that he won't do, is simply because he wants to tell the president openly. Because even what he's doing is even anti-party. He's a member of APGA, a party leader for that matter. And then he's coming out to support. So does it mean APGA will not bring out a candidate in 2027? He will just be on his own, considering that the only governor under the party has already declared the intention to give 100% support to this. So for me, I think what Soludo is doing is just to secure his base in the elections. And considering that the APC candidate in the forthcoming November elections in Anambra State is somebody who is more like a serious financier of the APC in previous elections. So the game he's trying to play there is the fact that, look, to tell the president, I assure you, come 2027, I will give you the platform to rig your elections. So nobody's even looking at it from that angle. So the president or the APC wants to take advantage of the power of incumbency of Soludo on the grounds that he supports me in 2027.
I think I agree with you. There's a precedent to that.
Yes.
In 2003, President Olusegun Obasanjo used the ethnic card in the South West. If you recall, in the 1993 election, Olusegun Obasanjo had less than 25% of the votes in the Southwest. So he didn't want that disgrace. He got the Southwest governors to support him and promised them that he was going to help them win elections because the governors in the Southwest remain in their parties.
Yes.
But this time the governors are moving to join the president. And that is why people seem to believe that the next election may be one of the worst elections that Nigeria will have.
Yes, now you see the angle
yes.
I am going to, because ordinarily, these states, Delta states, Edo state and the rest of them, they have been traditional PDP states since 1999. So what stops the people from saying that, look, we're going to vote for this candidate? Is because these people now understand. Sometimes these people have information that we do not have. They have now seen it that, look, if they choose to remain in PDP, if these people stamp their feet on the ground as PDP governor and say, look, we want this crisis resolved. So we've seen that happen when some elements of the party brought Rimamnde Shawulu as chairman of the party. And at some point, he refused to leave, even when it was perceived that he was working against the party and working for the APC. The governor stood their grounds with Wike and the rest of them, and they stamped him out. So, with all of the happenings in the PDP, if the PDP governors insist that, look, we are stamping our feet on the ground, we will leave. Politics is about negotiation. Politics is about arm twisting. So if they tell those, look, if we are going to take our patronage elsewhere, the party will be forced to recognize itself. So because they know that if they contest this election against the incumbent president in 2027, the elections will be rigged. And they know Mahmoud Yakubu's position will end in November and a new person will be appointed. And given the kind of appointments we've seen the president do, there's a high chances that they will bring somebody in that will favor the APC. So these people, they've seen the things that we are not seeing. So they've decided that, look, we will move just so we can placate the president. That is what I see about all of these things.
Well, that appears very frightful because if you look at states like Delta, like you mentioned, states like Akwa Ibom, states that have never voted for
opposition,
any party other than the PDP. Even the governor of Akwa Ibom himself did say that he didn't need to decamp to APC to win election. So why did he decamp then? Because it's all about winning elections and being in office. The unexpressed fears that they have is not about maybe some of those governors being afraid of the use of anti-corruption agencies to go after them. If it is about the question of whether the next election will be free and fair or not, then there is a problem. We have a bump on the democratic part. There's this Professor Williams who did a study of political crisis in Africa. The study that he did, I can't remember exactly, shows that about 80-something or 60-something% of all the devastating crises that have taken place in Africa due to political matters, issues of elections, manipulations, issues of election. And in some of the states, countries that these things have happened, the countries have not been the same again. I don't know about other parts of the world, but because I do believe from the little that I've studied, you who are in the university will know better. I've come to associate democracy, the rule of law, accountability, and so forth with stability in political systems and economies. And studies have also shown that when people are allowed to choose freely, some of the decisions may appear foolish, but the fact that they are allowed to choose means that the people make mistakes today, they correct it tomorrow. They vote in somebody, they don't like the person, they vote out the person, and that creates stability and gives rooms for innovation, which is why statistically, if you look at all the innovations that have made the world what it is today in the last 100 to 200 years, they have come from economies and politics. There is political freedom, that there's freedom for women, there's freedom of religion, where you don't have one person or two people, a group of people presiding over the affairs of the state, with working under the pretension that they know more than the needs of the general public. So what beats my imagination is that when you go through the social media, you read accounts in the newspapers and co, you will find even highly educated people come out to make comments about the political situation in Nigeria, that you wonder whether it was not a mistake. Let me put it this way, that we even became one country as a whole. Because so far, if you look at systems where people or leaders do things with some levels of accountability, levels of openness, you see that the governments are always inclusive, and efforts are made to bring in areas and parts that are not represented. But here in the Nigerian system, the dysfunctional system in Nigeria, we are witnessing a situation where you have exclusion at the level of class or social status in society, that today you have some groups that are completely excluded from protection of the police, protection of judiciary. I'm talking about the people in the rural areas who have become victims of kidnappings and the rest of them. For them, there is no law and order. Even in urban centers, the people, there are certain levels of people in almost all parts of Nigeria today who are excluded to the extent that they have to be the providers of their power. That's why you have these better pass my neighbor generators. You have people, the solar panels. You have people that almost everywhere they are excluded. They have to dig their boreholes. And then if you come to the issue of political appointments, which was worsened by President Muhammadu Buhari, certain groups and religions don't matter too much. They are a dot. They don't matter. Yes. They are 5% or less than 5%. And now we have the current situation. We are having what people arguably say is worse than what Buhari did in terms of exclusion. Of course, in this case, it is tribe. While under Buhari, it was both religion and tribe. So the question that you ask is, are there examples in history that countries have behaved like this and succeeded?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Even some of the countries in Europe that are divided today, especially if you go by the Serbia and the rest of them, what led to the ethnic cleansing is because some people have put ethnicity far above even humanity. They put ethnicity far above nationhood, and they decided that certain tribes must not get to a certain level. And these countries, whether we like it or not, they are still facing crisis. Okay, let's come down to Africa. And let's go to Sudan, where what even led to the Darfur crisis in the first place. You know, on the open, the Sudanese, have described those from the southern part of the country as second-class citizens. These are people who are in the same country, got independence together, and they even have the resources. So it got to a point, these people got fed up and decided, I think if we continue to live with these people under one umbrella will never amount to anything, and decided we need to break up. And that led to the civil war we saw in Sudan that killed, several hundreds of thousands of people were unalived, and so many millions of people were displaced. And even as we speak, this Southern Sudan, they still find it very difficult, to stabilize economically, even in Sudan itself. So this is what ethnic division, and unfortunately, even if the leaders we have in Nigeria do not really understand this part of history, the academics, the people around them who are meant to advise them, they have knowledge of these things. But because of what I always describe as pure psychophancy, they always want to tell these leaders what they want to hear. They always want to massage their ego, always want to tell them what you are doing is right. And why these things also thrive is because of the divide and rule tactics that have been employed over the years. Buhari used that effectively. And then you find, the Southeast people seriously marginalized in terms of appointment during Buhari's 8 years in office. And you find some Igbos who were just opportuned to get appointments, maybe Minister of Labor, Sport, or the things that are almost immaterial. And then you find these people from the Southeast calling on their people to support the government. And then what you need to do, you just get some few elites, as old as divide and rule tactics is still in play in Nigeria. So all you need to do, just get some few elites from these people who are marginalized, and then get these elites, just give them some money, give them some contracts, give them some few appointments, even if the appointments are not really, the benefits will not trickle down to the people. These people will now start singing the praises of those in power. We've seen it happen several times, because Ngige felt that the ASU and the rest of them were trying to destabilize the Buhari's government and give it a bad name, it formed a parallel group. We've seen all this has happened from the Southeast itself. So, by and large, what we are trying to say is ethnicity, countries who have, told the lines of ethnicity in terms of nation building have not really succeeded. One of the reasons why Nigeria is where it is today, let's forget about external interference, let's forget about some of the internal, some of the things that are affecting Nigeria today, because ethnicity and religion has taken the center stage. And that's why when I did that, one of my blog videos talking about wherein lies Nigeria's problem, if you look at the holistic, non-holistic South, for me, I would definitely say it's the North, because one of the problems we have, one of the biggest challenges we have, we've not had effective leadership over the years. And if you look at our leadership recruitment process in terms of election, let's look at it from 1999 today, you find out that people vote not because of capacity, but because this person shares my political, religious, and ethnic beliefs. So on that grounds, I am voting. And that is how we got the man like Muhammadu Buhari in power, that destabilized the country, polarized the nation, made a mess of the economy, so much corruption, and insecurity became so much that we have never witnessed since the independence from the Civil War. So it talks about how these people are recruited into office. And then came 2023, where we said, okay, the people have suffered enough. Now we have the opportunity to right the wrongs. And then people went out to vote, not because they think the man has the capacity, not because they think this man knows what he's doing, just simply because he is speaking our language, which is religion, the Muslim ticket. And that's how the current government found its way in office. And then we are seeing what is happening. So no matter how much the Northerners will shout, I've not heard the Northerners say that we will not vote for Tinubu because the economy is bad. We will not vote because banditry is killing our people in the Northwest. They are not going to vote for him if he removes Kashim Shettima. The Arewa Consultative Forum brought out that statement that he will lose over 80% of the votes. Now you see where the problem is. So nobody is, right now when the election comes, nobody will talk about how bad the economy has been, the inflation, the poverty level, the multidimensional poverty. Nobody will talk about out-of-school children. The Northern Nigeria have the highest number of out-of-school children. They don't care about these things. All they just want a Muslim man to be there, a Muslim vice president to be there. That's all matters. The same thing happened during the election where you see the Southwest going to vote for Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Not because they think they have the capacity. In fact, since was born, so we've been having elections. We've never had a controversial president like what we have today. A man with so much baggages. But you saw all what happened during the elections. People didn't even care. If this man had baggages, if that was his real name, if he went to school, or if he had criminal past, or nobody cared. We just wanted somebody from my tribe. That's the language that people speak. So these are the fundamental issues in Nigeria. So when you hear people talk about you want this, you want that, it's just about this. So I don't think, given all of this problem, I don't see Nigeria making any headway in the nearest future because...
Well, before we come to that, I understand you are writing a book. You've written a book.
Yes.
What's the title of the book? When is it coming out?
Yes, the volume 1 of the book is out. It's Essays on Political Science and International Relations. It's very, very good for people who want to know more about Nigerian foreign policy. You want to know more about military in politics. You want to know about soft power. You want to know more about narrative analysis on Nigeria's foreign policy. You want to know about China's operation in Nigeria under the Belt and Road Initiative. That book is a must-read for you.
I'm sure it will be available on Amazon for people to buy.
By next week, it will be available on Amazon for you to grab a copy.
By that time, we'll have the description to put online. The last few minutes, we've been speaking with Dr. Joel on Nigeria's politics.